recording is up, and then it'll just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Let me move the payload.
Yes, and this one's Kiriko gameplay.
Gotcha. Have we gone over Kiriko yet?
Yes, that was
Yes,
our
that was the
first
first one.
session.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So you right now are trying to put some pressure on the Toryuan, right? And I think that this is a good idea. We're closing the gap by teleporting to our Echo, right? So we're now going to be 2v1ing the Torb. We're taking a high ground advantage. We're still in line of sight of our team. Good plays all around. But the only thing is that we're kind of like relying on the necessity for our teammate to go up there, whereas we potentially could be going to duel the Torb even without the Echo there.
Yeah.
And that would just be like, walking over and wall climbing up. So that's just an idea here. Is if like you want to go try to frag out a kill, don't necessarily feel like you need to rely on your DPS to go initiate first. Because you can always go wall climb up to Torbjorn, and then if anybody starts to contest you or you get low, then you have 2 escape abilities.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah. Was flicking that was something we talked about in the first session, right?
Yeah, you said try to trace more, and I was doing it for a bit, but then I get back to old habits.
Mm-hmm.
That was the biggest issue. So I think I
Gotcha.
noticed it a little bit later on. And I start tracing in this game a little bit better, but
Yeah, I gotcha. And just as a reminder, it's not just that like a general play style thing where I'm like, okay, just never flick ever. It's
yeah,
just flicking you flick when flicking is needed and not when it's not needed, sort of deal. Because sometimes like we end up just like we're going like mad wild with our mouse here and like in our crosshairs flicking around all over the place when they're just kind of like right in front of you. And then you end up just kind of throwing off your own shots. So
yeah,
just
yeah.
just a reminder.
Okay.
Come to me for heals. Come here. I can heal you.
Nice.
So I do have a question here.
Hmm.
Is something I've been noticing a lot is I'll be like the cart support apparently. Is it okay to leave the cart to go heal my team even though I'm the only one on cart?
So let's see. In general, if you get assigned to cart duty, um, I would you always kind of want to prioritize winning the fight over pushing cart. So it's kind of a difficult nuance because, of course, if you don't push the cart at all, then it doesn't really matter no matter what you do because the cart didn't go anywhere. So it would be a situation where basically like if you going and TPing and healing or whatever is a necessity to keep them alive, then probably do it. Just try to get back to cart as soon as possible or get someone on cart. And if it is not a necessity, then I would try to stay on cart.
Okay.
Essentially. So it's like a do you really need to sort of deal.
Yeah.
And then afterwards you just try to get back to cart. Because if the alternative is you push cart, and then your teammates are just dying all around you, and then like you just can't push cart anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas if you win the fight, well then you can keep pushing cart, right? So
Yeah.
it's really it's important both ways. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes. Yeah. 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 Okay.
Okay. Watch the reload. I think we're kind of sitting at two ammo there for a while, even when like
Yeah.
everyone was full HP.
Okay.
Protecting. I'm here. Help me move the payload.
Yeah, there was two useless teleports right there. I don't know why I did that.
Yeah, so probably looking for some people who are further away than like right next to us as something. Um, okay, so here, just a reminder that like we don't need to be doubly around that corner. Like we don't need to be around two corners from a bomb. Just one corner is fine.
Yeah.
So what could we be doing here instead of being around two corners? If we were up on that first corner, what could you be potentially doing here after the bomb explodes or before the
Uh,
bomb explodes?
I could honestly turn around because I do believe there's a mercy behind me. There's also who else? Yeah, there's quite a few people back there. I could have turned around and shot at them.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
don't know. I went inside the building because I didn't know. I don't know. I was just afraid that they were just gonna kill me pretty quickly.
Mm. Oh yeah. So maybe like the people behind you were. So
Mhm.
maybe like turning around and just being aware of the people behind you. Yeah, that's a good point. Potentially as well here, like if you do know that there's nobody like immediately gonna kill you, you could just be like killing the baby diva either
Yeah.
before bomb explodes or after bomb explodes. So like we can, bomb. We know there's a timer on bomb. I can go peek, shoot, back up, maybe land like a body shot, right? Bomb
Okay.
explodes. She goes to remech, right? While she's remeching, she's standing still, and I land the headshot, and she's dead, right?
Okay.
So something
Yeah.
like that. Whereas when we're back here, like we just like can't do anything. So it's just like a little bit of a little tiny bit of time inefficiency, not a insanely massive deal. Obviously, messed up TP, pretty decent Suzu.
Yes.
Okay, maybe like backing up a little too much. Last time, what did we discuss in terms of like what's your range want to be like as Kiriko?
I don't recall if I know we discussed it as Anna. I don't believe we
Okay,
discussed
let's
Kiriko, but I
let's
would assume it was mid to close.
yeah. Generally speaking, across both characters. Let's talk over that real quick. So we're at 3 minutes. Let's go back here. So yeah, you're pretty much right. I'd say generally speaking, across both her healing and her damage, she is able
I'll
to
find
do
my
mid
own
range,
path.
but prefers the closer you're able to get to people. That's just kind of how her kit works. Primarily because she's dealing with so many projectiles. So, her max healing range, let's talk about healing first. Max healing range is 30 meters. So I can't heal from here, I can't heal from here. Right? So 30 meters, that's
Under my
also
protection.
the distance of her swift step. So I cannot swift step from here, I can from here. Right? Therefore, you really cannot be playing outside of that range. So 30 meters is like your cap, and 30 meters just happens to be the cap usually for a mid-range distance. So maximum possible range, mid-range, right? You can't do long range. It's just not possible with Kiriko, right? But even if you're at like this 30 meters distance and we're working with that with that bot, well, notice how when we heal, it's a very slow projectile. So, but maybe by the time the projectile gets there, they don't need healing anymore, or they're already dead. So it's just very delayed healing. And then additionally, we're gonna note that your Suzu is also a slow projectile, meaning by the time your Suzu gets there, it might already be dead. They might have moved out of like its projectiles are inherently difficult to land at ranges because by the time the projectile gets there, they might have already moved out of the way, whether on purpose or by accident. So inaccuracy as well as just delay. Whereas when we're right here, we can just do that, and then it's instant easy, right? Um,
Yeah.
so that's a lot of reasons why to your teammates, generally speaking, if you have the ability to be close, be close range to mid. So I'd say close range to mid range is kind of what you're looking for. Mid-range is
Okay.
okay. Like, if you have somebody, like, flanking all the way over there, or you're running dive, or everyone's split up,
Carry
you
on
know,
the wind.
go for it and be at a mid-range from some people. But if you have the option, try to be a little bit closer to your teammates, right? But the other thing to note is that you can always, if you do need to separate from them, you can always TP back at a moment's notice, right? And then that gets you into your ranges a lot of the time. That's what you can utilize TP for. Now, dueling people and shooting enemies, this also is going to be a close to medium format where, like, of course you don't always want to be on top of enemies because that will be very dangerous. And what if you're just trying to heal your teammates? If you're just trying to heal, why would you want to be on top of your enemies? That's just dangerous. So if I'm just healing, maybe I should just be here around cover, medium distance from enemies, and then I can just kind of pop in a 1-2 from a medium distance, right? But
Now I'm having
if
fun.
all my teammates are full HP and they're all fine and dandy, or maybe it's between fights or before a fight or things like that, um, I can probably just like come over and start dueling someone and close the distance on them because your projectiles are going to be much easier to land right here on somebody where it's a bigger target and your projectiles once again are inherently difficult to land at ranges. Once again, reminding that if you are doing plays like that you're always keeping in mind someone to teleport to, so that you can teleport out at a moment's notice, and also reminding that your shift does if you hold it down, it does activate instantly upon looking at someone. So we come over on the flank, we go pop, 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 we hold down shift, and we just go flick, and we're out kind of instantly. Okay, all that makes sense? Any questions on any of that?
Uh, no, that makes sense.
All right, cool. Trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's really about it for the moment. Oh yeah, I was just kind of talking through this um with another Kiriko I was just coaching. Maybe I think it was possible. Actually, I don't actually remember I was just going over. It might have been one of your teammates. But we were talking about how just for nice pacing. So like if you're just kind of spam healing, right, you're gonna notice that there's a delay between your heal Fudas while they're recharging. So in that time, you can pretty much fit in 2 kunai shots before you do it again, or make 1 or 2. So if you're trying to line up your next shot, maybe 1. So heal 1, heal 1, heal 1, right? That sort of deal. So that can just help get in a few. Like if you just get into that habit, that can just help you a little bit with like your output of just spam damage. So that will be like, get you better into the groove of it. But then also, of course, just remembering overhealing is that concept we touched on before.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a big issue on my Ana gameplay.
Yeah. Yep. So just keeping an eye on that as well. Just remembering that you damage when healing isn't needed, and when it is needed, then you heal. Of course, heal when it's needed. If not, then you damage or look for anything else to do, reload and whatnot.
Okay.
Ready for battle.
You've been doing a lot around here.
Alright, so here, notice how we're just kind of like pushing really far back, so we end up just being like really far away from kind of everything.
Yes.
Alright, so let's rewatch this a hair. So,
Okay.
as of the current moment, what would be why is there 2 divas here? Oh, they're okay. Yep. All right, sounds good. So as of the current moment, you end up just kind of shooting at the diva, which I'd say probably not the most valuable thing you could be doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Why is that the case?
I mean, I have a couple teammates who could probably use healing, but also I do basically no damage unless it's a headshot.
Yeah, so diva's not facing us. Some teammates might need healing. which
Yeah.
that I don't think like I mean like I don't think anyone's like emergency needing it, but at the same time you're right. Like maybe someone that needs it a little bit. Um, Additionally, there's the fact like of target priority. Have we talked about target priority? Do you remember it?
Yes.
So
I
what
believe.
do you remember what target priority entails?
Wasn't it like we whoever's lowest?
Yeah, so I mean that's in there, that's mixed in there, that's an element, but it's whoever's easiest to kill, right?
Oh, okay.
Which easiest to kill means that you'll actually get the kill, right? Instead of
Mhm.
shooting at them again and again and again. And there's like a whole hierarchy of what's easy and hard to kill, and at the top of the difficult to kill hierarchy lies the tanks who have 2 to 3 times the health of other characters and armor and tanking abilities and shields and they're the easiest to heal, etc. Right? Um,
Yeah.
Overall, they're just really difficult to kill. And if you're just like soloing a tank from behind as Kiriko, probably not going to be doing too much. So maybe we like just TP to someone else and just start shooting at something else, right? Like if we like TP to the Torbjorn right now, we can, or TP to like anyone over there, we can just like start shooting like the Mercy or something like that. Um, and then we can like maybe team fire the Diva or something like that. So we just want to like be careful about who we're looking at, who we're shooting at. It's
Mhm.
not to say that we never shoot at difficult things because um what if they're low HP or out of position, in which case now they are easy things to kill in those cases, right? Or if they are the only thing you can shoot at, then you don't really have many other options. Then you just
Mhm.
kind of go for them, right? Um and then let's see. Yeah, that's really about it. So just focus
Okay.
on those other characters. Go actively seek them out, and also like if you have the equal opportunity, go shoot at them. All right.
Okay.
So then,
What's up?
okay, we TP over. Okay,
Let the kitsune guide you.
is that's Arako. Okay,
Yeah, that's all right.
that's Arako. Okay, what might possibly be the problem with this ultimate?
Go. I mean, we have three people in there, but we'd have three people. I don't know. I don't know.
All good. So have we talked over how to tell whether or not you've won or lost a fight?
No.
No? Okay, cool. Then let's go over that. So that's an important, tool in your to having your tool belt. So how do you tell whether or not you've won or lost a fight? There's nuances to this, but let's go over the basics. The basics involve making sure you're paying attention to kill feed
Mhm.
and counting how many people you're up or down. When you are up or down 1 to 2 people, you're going to be at an advantage or a disadvantage, in which case you can play more aggressive or more passive. If you are up or down 2 to 3 people, then that's a one fight or a lost fight. In which case, if you've won, you get super aggressive. If you've lost, you get out if you can. If you can't, you let them kill you, and yeah, and then that way you don't stagger yourself. And then also, if you've won or lost, you don't want to use ultimates because if in either case, if you've won or lost, then that's just a waste of your ultimate. It's
Yeah.
just overusing it. It's not going to be valuable. So, in this situation where it is a 5v3, at this point we're up 2 people. This is a one fight, but you might be thinking, okay, well, it's we're only up 2 people. Didn't you say 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3? How do I tell with 2 people? That's kind of like in the middle there. Well, that's two's in the middle because there's so many other nuances to whether or not you've won or lost a fight. A lot of other advantages and disadvantages, such as which team has better positioning, closer
Mhm.
spawns, which team has more health, which team is let's see, like has more ultimates, which team has more abilities, things like that that all kind of impact it. If um if you are up 2 people and you have a major disadvantage, then it's maybe they can maybe win it still, right? Like if you're up 2 people, but let's say like your entire team is 1 HP, maybe that's still losable, right? Like if your whole team's 1 HP, you might not be able to get that. But if you are up 2 people and you have no additional disadvantage, then that's a 1 fight. So here in this situation, we can go through, okay, which team has better positioning, maybe kind of even. We're like a tad bit more grouped up, right? Like that's nothing. Spawns about even. Health bars, we have our diva who's low, their diva who's low, their mercy who's low, and us who's low. Our echo's low, their Ana's about to get fragged. So like as of the moment, everyone's about even on health, right? They don't have any ultimates to flip it around. I don't think they have any massive abilities to flip it around. We do have a Echo ult lasting, for a few more seconds that helps out. Like overall, all of this is saying like there's nothing really massive that would flip this around, and therefore you don't want to use it unless like they seem like they might be pulling it back, in which case you can try to like put the nail in the coffin and use it. But I wouldn't do that unless like Diva gets a kill or something like that.
Yeah.
But I doubt that she will if all of you at this current pace. I think at this current pace you win even if you use your ults or not. Does that all that make sense? Any questions?
No, that makes all good sense.
Yep. All right, cool. Yeah, so notice how like you both demech at the same time, which is kind of as expected. You frag the diva, probably whether or not you have Kiriko ult or not. So yeah, once again, just kind of the overall.
Okay. I think I was just too excited to see 3 people in front of me and having an ult.
Yep.
Not very often you get to see everyone together.
Yep. Nice headshot. Notice we were kind of positioning a tad bit far back in that fight.
Yeah.
Like even now, like we could just be like throwing in some poke shots, like while you're on cart, like push up to here, toss in some shots down at that Zen, that sort of deal. So like just things like that. Also, do notice well that while the cart is going through like doors and such, it doesn't require someone to be standing on it.
Okay.
Like it'll automatically push itself through, and then you can kind of retouch afterwards. I do believe that as well. Now I'm like questioning that, but I'm 90% sure that's how it's been since the beginning of Overwatch.
It might have been.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm always sitting on guard, so I have no idea.
I'm fairly certain it auto pushes through that door. You get it up to the door. Once the door starts opening, it goes through the animation. Okay, wait. So we lost. Let's see what happens here when we lose our teammate. So we end up pushing in a tad bit late, right? Because we're kind of sitting on cart.
Yeah. Both supports are sitting on cart.
Yep. You TP forward like 2 inches into into more danger. So maybe not the play. Okay. Once again, you can notice like the major flicking. So
Yeah.
you see like how we're like aiming at this right wall, right? And then we're gonna go right to left, to right to left, to right to left, when they're all just kind of like standing right in that like one spot. So we could just not move our crosshair at all and hit more shots.
Yeah.
Like we throw one shot into the wall and things like that. Good Suzu.
Under my protection. Ah, damn it.
Nice headshot. Nice Suzu. I'm noticing a decent bit of like up and down mobility with our crosshair. We talked about crosshair placement last time, yeah?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
headshot level.
yeah, headshot level. So maybe just like a little bit of a consistency thing. So I'm noticing like here a little bit low. Like I feel like we're kind of like we'll go up and down a lot. So like
Yeah.
it's not that you're never at crosshair level. It's just like you're at crosshair level like half the time.
Yeah. I think that comes from me spamming jump all the time.
Hmm. Yep. That'll impact it for sure. So back here when you're with Diva, man, at this point fights, we have, let's see, do you have all of your teammates alive? Okay, so you do have all of your teammates alive. Um, does Diva like immediately need you?
Um, Probably not in this instance, but I
Yeah,
think I backed into this corner with her while she was low HP, so I thought might as well heal her up.
yeah. So if that's the case, it might be worthwhile. Now, at this point, I think that you've already probably lost this because I think you have teammates who are about to die in a second, anyways. But hypothetically speaking, if this isn't a lost fight, there's no reason for you to be sitting on top of your diva here when your diva's not needing you. You can probably just TP back to the fight, and then you're back in the actual fight with people who do need your healing immediately, right? Whereas once again, notice how we're kind of TPing like 2 inches again.
Yeah.
So definitely better TP targets is something to work on because I think a lot of the time we're TPing to things that are like 2 feet from us instead of like things that would actually get us where we want to be.
Okay.
And then that gets into a little bit of like positioning and a little bit of like fight awareness and things like that. Right. So, what was the issue there? Why did we die?
Well, first off, I teleported 2 feet as per usual.
Mm.
But um, I missed almost all my healing on the Echo. I
Hmm.
mean, I could have teleported the Tor back there, and I think I would have been perfectly fine. Well,
That
did that?
that's out of that's outside of teleport range by a good margin.
Okay.
It's 30 meters. That's like 50, 60 meters from here. So that's like almost double outside.
Okay. Uh, but yeah, I don't think I just got out of this well enough. I
Yep.
was trying to go into the defense matrix, I think.
Yeah, which is a good call. I think the big thing here is that you just back out too slowly. Like we're just kind
Yeah.
of like we're like chilling and chilling and chilling when like this whole time we could just have been like backing out and putting max distance cuz like it is not imperative that you save Echo right now, right? Just because like
Mhm.
she's most likely going to die anyways, but you don't need to die here. You could have just started backing up a little while ago.
Okay.
So just because yeah, just don't suicide to try to save other people, because then that just feeds them more ult charge, and probably could have just like started the backup process a couple seconds earlier.
I can heal you.
Yes.
Payload's heading out.
Okay, maybe not like the most optimal of flanks at the moment, just because like we're kind of pretty far extended past our team here, right? Like notice like kind of like where your whole team is at the moment is like your whole team's like back at the choke. So we're pretty far
Yeah.
forwards. They have on up on the high ground. They have a wall up. They all know that you're there. Like they just watched you walk across. So it's not like you have any surprise advantage at the moment,
Yeah.
right? So like yes, you're kind of trying to go with the concept of like, oh, I can off angle and get a different angle and go and shoot them in the head from the side. But like kind of like everything else about the interaction is saying no, don't do it. Right?
Yeah.
So there will be times where like maybe you shouldn't off angle, sort of deal.
Okay.
What could you be doing at the moment that would be of high value that doesn't include off angling?
I mean, I could have just held this position right here and then just aimed at headshot level, but on the right side rather than the left side.
Can,
I
can
could
you
have also
go ahead?
echo, because echo was low there.
So Echo's I think full HP at the moment.
Oh, right there.
Unless
Okay.
she gets low in a second. So she's full HP at the moment. She's maybe down a little bit of HP. Okay, now she's like half HP. Right.
Yeah.
Um can you headshot anybody from here?
No.
Okay. Um what is something that you could be doing from like right over here with your team that would be of high value? I'll give you a hint. It involves a very big, bright, colored object in the center of your screen at the moment. Or the bottom of your screen.
Oh, rush. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So this would be a perfect situation to be using your ultimate. Why would this be a perfect situation to be using your ultimate?
But it's a 5v5 and everyone's still alive.
Yeah. So you have it's perfect because one, it's the beginning of the fight, right? So generally speaking, beginning a fight is best time to use most ults, most like aggressive ults that you're non-defensive. Beginning a fight's best, mid fight's okay, late fight is situational, and then in between fights is very rare. Do you want to use it? And
Okay.
generally speaking, ults that are used first get more value than ults that are used second in a decent bit of cases. That's how that works, um, as a general rule of thumb. So, using it right around the start of the fight here could be very valuable just to kind of like run into them. Maybe get your team past choke and running past their shield, that sort
Yeah.
of thing. Um, and so that's good. The timing's good. And then also you have your whole team here. So, timing's good and your whole team can go and shoot through it and stuff like that. Make sense?
Yeah.
Payload's heading out.
So, the problem then that is like the fact that maybe you were just like not even thinking about your ult or not aware of your ult. Even now, it took you a little while to like notice, oh, I had my ultimate.
Yeah.
Which comes maybe down a little bit to awareness and planning. You want to firstly be aware of your ultimate, so you want to be paying attention to the fact that you have it, which is paying attention to your HUD, which is part of awareness and keeping your eyes open and looking around at different things, and scanning your screen and paying attention. So we touch on a few awareness things, like we talked about kill feed, we talked about ultimates, we talked about paying attention to where your teammates are located and paying attention to where the enemies are located and things like that, right? So we
Yeah.
talked about a couple awareness things. Do you remember what we've discussed? Oh, I mean, maybe we just went over it a couple days ago. So hopefully, I don't remember if we did review it a couple days ago. Did we do a recap on the application? How do you put things into practice?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember it very fondly though.
Okay. So you'll probably like remember it as soon as I bring it back up. But remember, so I'll do a abridged version. But remember that when you're trying to put things into practice, like maybe even vague things like awareness, you improve on it by actively focusing on what you're trying to work on. By thinking to yourself, awareness, 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 look at my HUD, look at my HUD, watch kill feed, watch kill feed, watch kill feed. And when you give yourself that stream of reminders, your awareness will be better. You'll form it as a habit, and then you can move on. And then just try to do one category of things or 1 to 3 smaller things instead of overwhelming yourself with too much.
Yeah.
That ring a bell?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that all makes sense. Like here when you are like trying to just watch your ult, like just scan your like just do a quick scan of your HUD like once in a while. When you see that you are even at like 80% of your ult, you should be thinking about how do I want to use my ult 20% from now, because that's not a very, long time. 20 you could get that 20% in the next 30 seconds, right? So you can be planning when and how you want to use your ult 30 seconds ahead of time. right? And then if you're doing that, or even like, if you have your ult, maybe you're planning it before the fight. So like you're coming back from spawn and you're thinking, I got ult, I should use it this fight. When and how do I want to use it, right? So pre-planning that and thinking about it is gonna be a big help to be able to, just use it as soon as you want to and as soon as you need to. Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect sense.
Thanks for the touch-up.
Okay, so then they just kind of win the fight, and we don't get a chance to use our ult. So because we didn't use our ult at the start of the fight, then we kind of just are forced to not use it at all. And then that's just a lack of value. We could be, now we could have potentially gotten like, 2 ults in the time we use one,
Okay.
depending on if we like hold on to it again, I guess. Okay, mild bit of crosshair placement, so just notice where we're at right here as we're turning the corner. So I guess we're at like Torb level, so I'm not sure if we're aiming at Torb, but in the big group of them, we weren't up high. So I'm not sure if that was intentional or not.
I would have probably say yeah, maybe. I hope.
Alright. Oof, that was very close to getting stopped by Cart there. Just reminding that your ult does get impacted by cart, right? You can't.
Okay.
It will stop if it hits the cart.
Yeah.
So let's look at the timing and the positioning. What maybe is could be better. So I think this is good timing because it's the beginning of the fight. Maybe could have been like, like a hair sooner. Maybe we could be doing it like back when we're all grouped up more, like over on this right side. Or did that already happen? Where was that at? Is that back here?
Just slightly before, yeah, like right here.
Yeah, okay, we're down on monkey still. Never mind. I didn't realize we're down monkey. Alright, so you're waiting on monkey. You're waiting for him to get back. Now he's back, right? Your Zen gets fragged. Okay, so now we're split up. Okay. So as of the current moment, what could be better ult positioning? I think the timing's pretty solid because it's like at the start of the fight-ish, right? What could be better positioning to A, give it to more people on your team, and B, be able to actually get it to like kind of go on top of the enemies, because here we kind of like put it like off to the side. So you put it in there, but it's like off to the side, so they can kind of like, Zen can kind of like back up and get around the corner, and like by the time Reaper gets to him, he's like kind of already gone, and it's kind of off to the side from these guys, so like you can't really like have some of your teammates run onto them. So where could we have been to A, make it better for your team to get more people, and B, center it more over top of the enemy?
I mean, I could have climbed over cart here, or I could have went right side of that doorway.
Yeah, I'm thinking right side because climbing over cart means going through a Reaper who's right in front of you. Maybe not
Yes.
the smartest play, but if we just come over to the right side here, and I mean, like, you can also communicate it or press my ult is ready, and like, that's a good idea, a good habit to get into as well. Is just like press the I have ult button when you be like, a couple seconds before you plan to use it, or the fight you plan to use it, or something along those lines. But you can just come over here. This centers it more because now instead of 2 people using ult, you have 3 people using ult because you have you, Monkey, and Echo. And if Reaper wants to, he can always come over to you, right?
Yeah.
Plus, it centers it more on the enemies, where now this is kind of directly leading into these guys. So if your Monkey just kind of leaps down it, he can like be on Zenyatta immediately and be in your ultimate, right?
Yeah.
So that'll make sense with positioning.
Yes.
So you want to think how many people can be in it, and is this like actually getting on top of the enemies? So you get the Reaper, which is good.
Feel better?
Um, at that range that it's at, that's doing 0 damage to you, by the way.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Do you know that there is a range on Diva Bomb? So
I honestly did not.
yeah. So look at your Reaper, who's like the same distance away from it when it explodes and it does not do anything, and that does nothing, right? So there
Okay.
is a range on it. Notice how it doesn't even break the monkey bubble.
Yeah.
Right. So because the explosion was so far away, it just did no damage. So it actually has a drop off scale where you can take damage from it, and if it's far enough away, then it won't kill you. But then when you're, of course, really close to it, then you will die. So just know that there's a range, and you can
Okay.
probably start. I don't know if I know the exact numbers on it, but you can start to get a feel for it. But yeah, that was like very very far away, so probably don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
let's wrap up. So main points review, wrap up, stuff like that. So
I'll
ability
find my
usage,
own path.
your TP, don't TP to people who are like 2 inches from you. One thing that you can one like thing potentially sometimes that you can try is like if people are like rushing you or like you're trying to put distance, right? So like we're like right here on our teammate. If we TP, then we don't go anywhere. We die, they die, right? But what we can do is maybe sometimes like run around a little bit in circles or run backwards, put some distance between you and your teammate, and then right as they're about to kill, and then that gives your teammates more time to run away. And then by the time they're about to kill you, then you can TP, and then you get a further distance on your TP. Your teammate gets more time to escape, things like that. So just an idea, not anything essential.
I've got you.
Shift, TP, like holding it down and then turning. Always have someone in mind, especially if you're getting dangerous. To just like yeah, just don't TP to people who are like 2 inches from you. TP to close the distance, get 2 people closer, get to better positioning if you see better positioning, and get back to the fight, right? Things like that. Little bit underutilized, little and whatnot. Suzu, honestly, pretty solid Suzu usage. Like I don't think I saw too many that were like misused. You use them all at pretty fantastic timing. So overall, Suzu pretty good. Making this like a kind of like a medium priority, maybe like lower end of a medium priority for you to work on, I'd say.
Okay.
Ult usage, best timing. Start of
What
fight's
did we
best.
learn?
Mid fight's okay. Late fight situational. Don't hold on to your ult. If you don't use it at all, then it's not getting value. Of course, you don't want to use it if it's a won or lost fight, but watch out for that. But if that's not the case, then you probably want to be using your ultimate if the fight's happening, right? Don't hold on to it and just do nothing with it. Then besides that, try to center it where your team can use it and where it's going over top of the enemies. So instead of like using it over here, use it over there, where it would go over 2 enemies and would be with 2 teammates instead of 1 enemy with 1 teammate, right?
Okay.
Um, Overall, ult usage probably a little bit higher than abilities, probably like medium, possibly medium high, but like more towards that range. Next, we have mechanics. Watch a little bit of overhealing, not terrible, but still there. Watch, let's see, like just try to like it's a little more kunais in sometimes. So, like watch, like you can just like toss 1 or 2 in between your reloads.
Warm inside.
Besides that, watch crosshair placement, aim head level. Like just do that for consistency's sake. Watch flicking. Like we'll be like, I don't know, you'll have like a corridor like this, like they're in a choke, and like there's really like one spot your crosshair can be like in this small area and pretty much hit something guaranteed, and yet we're like going like this, and then like it just is gonna like end up throwing off your shots, right?
Yeah.
There's just like no need behind it, so just think about when is it needed, when is it not needed. It's needed for fast moving targets, for acquiring new targets, for someone sneaking up behind you. Anytime your crosshair needs to go somewhere quick, and that will be a decent bit of the time. Like that will be like like probably like I don't know, like half your shots is Kiriko, but at the same time you don't want to just do it unnecessarily, unneeded.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
then if you are flicking, like still keep flicking on this like horizontal axis where we're flicking to the sides instead of up and down, and then that means that we're not messing up our crosshair placement as well.
Okay.
Then besides that, overall mechanics, like I don't know, like a medium or so, something around those lines. Next comes your positioning. It's you're kind of like a medium to close, or sorry, close to medium across both damage and healing, especially healing. And then damage is kind of like when you see the opportunities, then you go and close the gap. Um, but just because a lot of your abilities and healing and damage is projectiles, right? So that's the
Yeah.
big thing behind that. Then overall that one, and then just like general use cover and stuff like that. Be where the fight's happening. Don't be outside of the fight. Um, things like that. Know like when and when can you not go for that off angle. Overall though, not like atrocious. Probably like um probably like a medium.
Okay.
Then next comes awareness. Awareness, pay attention to where is your team at? Where is the enemy team at? What's happening with your ults, right? You can think about it before it even comes on, like before you even are using it, before you have it, think about it. Watch a kill feed. 1 to 2 is an advantage or disadvantage. 2 to 3 is a won or lost fight. Go in super hard if you're winning. If you've lost, get out if you can. If you can't, let them kill you. And then don't use ults in won or lost fights. If it's like 2 and just think about all the other advantages and disadvantages in the fight, and then adjust from there. Overall, your awareness was probably like a higher end of a medium. So to put that all in order, number 1 probably comes out to, just because it'll be the easiest to quickly apply, ult usage. Then next will come to your awareness. 3 will be your probably positioning, then mechanics, then finally ability usage. Any final questions?
No.
No?
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Let me stop